Women in this sport have kind of been an underlying factor.
I've been busting my for years. Whether or not guys think we deserve it, that's on them, but I know that I do, 100%.
Lavoie throwing everything she has into it. CrossFit athlete, stand number 4. So strong, it looks like, yeah, it will be. Wow, holy cow.
Having that focus, having that attack, no matter how I'm feeling, switch this on up here, and then I'll be ready to go.
I know that my heart is going to be racing and my head is going to be going crazy when I get there. I'm just going to be thinking about the other girls and how hard they're working and make sure that I'm putting in everything I can to put it all on the line.
That was a smoking cut by Kate Witkowski on Station 1.
We're all jumping on air this morning for everybody who's made it and going, we're going to Milwaukee in 6 weeks, this is fantastic.
Through timber sports and the experiences I've had and the friends and the mentors I've made, you kind of feel, I don't know if I can say this, but you kind of feel bad.
We're going to Milwaukee! Woo!
You hear a lot like, oh, that's too physical, women can't do that. Yeah, we can. Like, we can swing axes and run chainsaws.
It's good to have strong role models. I've had that throughout my life, and I hope to be that for somebody as well.
Let's stand together.
Welcome everyone to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the STIHL Timbersports Series U.S. Championships for 2018. Tommy Sanders, Kevin Holtz with you here today. Kevin, we have a twofold show today, starting with something that's for the first time on this stage here in Milwaukee, and that is the Women's Championships for the United States. It's been a long time coming, and now it is due.
Yeah, well overdue. In fact, you mentioned this is the second year. It's the first year on this stage, so I feel like that just adds even more legitimacy to these ladies that have worked so hard to promote this part of the sport, and they absolutely deserve to be there. They should have been here years ago, but all that said, they are here now, and we've got an exceptional group of athletes. I'm looking in two directions specifically. Martha King and Erin Lavoie. Great group of athletes all the way around. I think the two of them are going to rise to the top.
8 competitors have qualified, competing in 3 disciplines. And also today, we have got the Champions Trophy, which is basically a one-man relay, if you will.
Yeah, it's a relay event if you just don't have any friends. Nobody's there to help you out. It is a pure endurance event. It is absolute insanity. And because it is a bracketed event, if you do really good one time in this insane event, you get to do it again and again and so on until we crown our champion.
All that and much more. We're ready to kick off the Women's Championship with the first of 3 events. Here comes the Underhand.
This is the Underhand, Chuck. You are standing on a log. You have to think about scraping the rafters with that axe, bring it on a collision course, sinking it to the handle, and you need to get halfway through. Then comes the transition. It is a seamless motion from the hit in the front of the log to the hit in the back of the log. It must be done in 1 second or less, keeping that momentum into the backside, removing the chips, then your defying physics, driving off as much wood as possible. Once you feel the work is done in the backside of the log, you cannot hope you can drive it off. You have to know you can drive it off for those big overall points.
Up first in the Underhand, Kate Page takes on Lindsay Down.
3, 2, 1, go! Well, once again, the first time we've had the women's division of the STIHL Timbersports Series here on the big stage. I gotta imagine there's gonna be some nerves surrounding the lights, the noise, the cameras, all that stuff.
It's definitely intimidating, but it's a great feeling. I put a lot of time in this year, and it's always good to be part of something big, and I know how big it is, this being the women's first STIHL series. And I couldn't be more honored to be part of something that's growing.
Not the happiest face on Caitlin Page. A solid time, but she knows that could have been done in about 3 less strokes.
Oh man, that went a lot faster than I expected, but
You just got to remember when you're up there and time's flying that you know what you're doing, hit where you're supposed to hit, and just stay focused.
It was a win for Kate Page and her official time, 57 seconds, .03. For Lindsey Dawn, a minute 8 seconds, .37. Two competitors named Miller, both of them from the state of New York. On the right, that's Julie Miller from Branchport, New York. Alex Miller from Cowlsville, New York on the left.
See the starting position for Julie Miller versus Alex Miller. Julie got the axe up in the air a little bit, handle not really in line with where that first hit's gonna go. Alex Miller had the axe on the block, in line. A lot less adjustment that needs to go on. You can bring the axe straight up out of the block and back down in.
For me, I'm just taking each hit, you know, as the next hit hopefully is better.
Julie Miller putting in a great front face here. Very powerful cutter.
To take first place and stand next to that Harley Davidson would just be the greatest feeling in the world. It's giving me goosebumps now just thinking about it.
Now it's just sort of falling apart for Julie. She's got it. There it is. She finds the bottom there. Comes out ahead of Alex Miller, who's got maybe one more hit. There it is for Alex to find the bottom of that block.
It wasn't pretty. I had some errors that I don't typically make. Gonna say the show itself and the intensity of it got to me a little in that discipline. So got to settle down and get through the other two. One event at a time, let go of underhand, onto STIHL.
Well, it's Julie Miller taking over the top spot here in the underhand chop, a time of 52.81. Caitlin Page hanging in there from heat number 1 in second place. Alexandra Miller in third, and Lindsey Dawn in fourth. Here we go, Catherine Witkowski, second place last year. Catherine going against another Wisconsin native in this competition here. It's Nancy Zaleski on the right.
Watch here as Nancy goes into a 4-hit pattern. There's that first chip cleared away with another one ready to go right after that. Those pairs of hits cleanly releasing. That's what we didn't see. We saw, obviously, Julie Miller. And oh, look at Kayla Witkowski. I'm over here watching Nancy Zaleski's chop. And Witkowski, our runner-up from last year, just ran away with the underhand.
Yeah, I'm happy. Anytime I go head-to-head with Nancy, I have a few extra nerves. Nancy's the person that taught me how to chop, so yeah, when I'm going head-to-head with her, I think I have a little bit more fire, so I think that helped with that block for sure.
There you go, your official time's up now, and Kate Witkowski's 40.64 takes first place easily. Nancy Zaleski right behind with a 44.57, followed by Julie Miller, Caitlin Page. This is going to be Martha King going up against Erin Lavoie. Martha King from Chaddsford, Pennsylvania. Erin Lavoie, Spokane, Washington. They're in the Spokane Valley. That's Martha King right there.
And these two ladies, again, fall in that category of students of the sport. They ask questions, they learn, they talk, they hang around with the best of the best.
We're not worried about the field. We're worried about Erin Lavoie and the wood that I am delivered. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to do my best and hope that I win.
We've got the best competitors here, and I need to be able to perform to my very best so that I can stay ahead and earn those points and win all around.
And watch for very similar chops. When you hang around with the best, you learn from the best, you start to look a lot alike, and you'll see that in their cuts, in their patterns, and in their game plan. Martha King around, she gets in maybe 2 blows ahead of Erin Lavoie. Erin's gonna have to play some catch up. Look at how cleanly, there was the first hit that got a little bit away from Martha King on the bottom of that side. She didn't quite get her feet and her body to follow her around, but she gets it squared up. That block is ready to go, and there it is. Martha King off already. Erin Lavoie just about 2 blows behind.
Going to be the best underhand time of the day so far.
Let's watch the end of the cut from Martha King. You see there, she's going to go over. She punches that thing. There's a nice V of wood. She punches it in the guts, goes to the bottom. Didn't quite reach far enough on that one chip hit. Doesn't really matter, though. She had the job done. She goes back to the middle for 2 driving blows to clean it off.
I've got the winner of the underhand. Just an enormous chop. On Martha, I don't know where to start. You've worked so hard in this underhand. You've sought out the best help in the world with one of the best choppers ever seen, Lawrence O'Toole. You started your campaign this winter in Tasmania, where you won a big world title down there, and you're just keeping this train going.
Yes, it's very exciting. I'm so grateful to have Lawrence's support, my parents' support, the support of Mike Esch and other choppers. They've really encouraged me along the way, and I'm just so excited to be here. It's really an honor.
Keep those Harley points going. Big stock saw coming up. Big round of applause. Martha King.
The top points in the underhand chop going to Martha King. Erin Lavoie picks up second place from that heat as well. Kate Wiskowski in third, Nancy Zaleski in fourth place, and on down the list. So that will be basically the way the Harley-Davidson overall points will fall as well. Stick with us, two more disciplines left to go in our women's competition.
STIHL Timbersports on ABC is brought to you by Duluth Trading, tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen. John Deere, nothing runs like a deer. And Harley-Davidson.
That's exactly what she wants.
A trip to Milwaukee isn't complete without a stop at the Harley-Davidson Museum. During our stay here in Milwaukee, some of the timber sports athletes did just that. Martha King and Matt Koger were on hand running demonstration showcasing the roar of timber sports to these motorcycle enthusiasts. A great night out at Harley-Davidson and great action going on right now at Germanfest. We're right in the middle of the STIHL Timbersports Women's Championship here in Milwaukee. We're ready for the second event of the day, so to tell us more about the stock saw, here's Dave Jewett with the Duluth Trading Discipline Review.
Time for test of nerves. This is the stock saw event. It is a 40-centimeter block. Two competitors going at once using identical STIHL MS 661s. Two complete discs is what we are looking for within a 4-inch line. On go, retrieve the saw. That is the hand-eye coordination. Then you are listening to the RPMs. That is where the ear-hand coordination comes in, and a test of nerves. Do not cut over that 4-inch line. You will be disqualified. Do not have an incomplete disc. You are disqualified. So step on the stage with thick skin, because we need two thin discs for big overall points.
STIHL 2018 Women's Finals in the U.S. Championships here. We have moved on. This is going to be Caitlin Page and Alexandra Miller.
Stock saw, as long as I'm in the game focused and do what I know I can do. Not focused on little things like picking up the saw the right way, finding the trigger, concentrating on my transitions. Use what I've been doing for months and just let it flow naturally.
Look at the foot movement from Alex Miller over on stand number 2. Every time you shuffle your feet, you're shuffling your entire body. It changes the pressure on the saw. Now, she ran away with that heat. I'll give her that. But gets in, gets settled, and be consistent.
Like two good cuts for Alex Miller, and that's it's like a winning effort in her heat right there. I think they're still looking at Caitlin Page's. Yeah, there we go. Did not pass muster with the official. Well, a time of 11.74 for Alex Miller, and not good news for Caitlin Page.
Okay. Unfortunately, DQ cut the line. Your cut was good.
I definitely probably have trained that event the most because I think it's the event that is anyone's game. So that's why I put the most into that event.
Time to beat again, 11.74. Here comes Martha King versus Julie Miller. Martha King on top in Harley-Davidson overall points right now based on her win in the underhand.
Great equalizer, man, that stock saw. Gotta get it in my head to just get myself set where I need to be so that I can make two straight cuts, clean cuts. The guys always say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I want to be fast, but can't rush it.
Watch both of these ladies get up, get into the wood. It's like a small advantage for Martha King, but not much. Julie Miller with trouble. She had a very thick first disc. That set her up with not much timber to work with on the second cut. It'll be an incomplete disc for Julie Miller.
That will result in a DQ for Julie Miller. Again, unfortunate given the number of disciplines these competitors are working with today. So Martha King is going to be your winner, an official time of 11.70, 4/100ths of a second faster than Alex Miller.
Gosh, when I picked up the saw, I just made sure that I was getting a full cut, and then I thought, oh, my hand's a little bit off, but we're in the wood now, can't really adjust too much, just gotta let it go, be in control as it comes out the bottom. I think I was maybe putting the wrong pressure on it some of the time, but I was just so nervous. You know, I just wanted to get 2 cuts that I think with a little bit more practice and stuff next year, I'll feel a bit better about this event.
Final heat of the stock saw. This is going to pit Lindsay Dawn from Wisconsin up against Erin Lavoie, Spokane, Washington.
At the first discipline, Erin is in second place right now in terms of our Harley-Davidson overall points. She would like to capitalize on as many points as possible here. Try to get back on top of the heat. Boy, synchronized starts. The only difference is Erin Lavoie may be slightly thicker on that first cut, but they're right with each other. Lindsay, though, trouble there on the switch over. She was clean into the block, but then just looked bobbly. She's shaking her head. I think she, oh no. Oh, that's a lot of timber. Lindsay was very quick on the switch, but that speed came at a price of accuracy. Tough break for Lindsay.
So Erin Lavoie is going to take that one, and the best time of the day so far with 3 heats now in the books, an 11.64 for Erin Lavoie, puts her ahead of Martha King and Alex Miller.
A little slow to the wood, but you know, I just, there's a purple line out there, and I want to make damn sure that I saw that purple, I hit that purple, and I just rode that line down and back up, and that's all I was after, so I was happy.
Kate Wiskowski, Nancy Zaleski in this heat of the stock saw. Time to beat, an 11.64 for Erin Lavoie. Nancy Zaleski, the chemist from Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
There's 8 top women here, and you're all vying to win. Nobody's coming here to lose. So you just got to keep your head about you and get it done. Find a way to get it done.
Fast start for Zaleski, wow.
That was an exceptionally clean run for Nancy Zaleski. Quick to the block, just a blur on that switch. There you go, 2 thumbs up from Nancy. Let's see what the time comes out to.
Looks like we got 2 good cuts there, but this one was the standout. Check it out one more time.
Up and into the block. Look at how thin that first cut is, but it's straight, it's consistent the whole way through. Feet stay planted, body stays centered. Some little adjustment there as she comes up through. Very clean run from Nancy Zaleski.
Look at the time, officially 11.34 for Nancy Zaleski, 13.12 for Kate Wiskowski. Nancy Zaleski is your champion in the stock saw.
I'd have Nancy Zaleski with me right now. Nancy, prior to the quarterfinals in Cherry Valley, New York, you dropped 200 stock saw discs in practice. What is the number up to now, including those 2 clean discs you just dropped right here?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we're closer to 300. We had some stock saw races against the men at my house this week, so we went at it pretty hard for the last 4 days before we left. It feels really good. It's exactly what I practiced. It worked out perfectly.
Absolutely, did work out perfectly. Get ready for your strongest event, the single buck coming up. Big round of applause from Manitowoc, Wisconsin, Nancy Zaleski.
Nancy Zaleski coming in here at 4th place, knocks out the top time, just over 11 seconds. She gets top points in the stock saw. Here we go, the plot thickens. Erin Lavoie and Martha King tied for top points. Suddenly, Nancy Zaleski joins the conversation and really making this a tight one. And as Nancy said, my best event is yet to come. One more discipline left to go to identify our national champion. Well, we've got a real barn burner going here in the first ever on this stage at this event. Women's Division Championship. This is good stuff. We are seeing some great athletes in action. Right now, Erin Lavoie, Martha King tied at the top with 14 points apiece, and Nancy Zaleski right behind him, 1 point back. We're getting ready for the old misery whip. It's single buck time. We're going to take this thing down to the last one, Kevin.
Yeah, what an amazing points battle. This is what you'd want. This is exactly how this should play out. Year number 1 on the big stage. Let's have a points battle. Let's take it to the last event.
Well, Nancy Zaleski has put herself right back in this thing with that win in the stock saw. She'll be going up against Julie Miller.
For Nancy Zaleski, this is one of her marquee events. Oh, and trouble though at the top for Nancy Zaleski, running a very aggressive saw and has a hang-up. Julie Miller bringing some serious pace, but Nancy Zaleski running that entire saw. Oh, a hang-up at the bottom, a window's open for Miller, but not enough. Nancy Zaleski just runs an extremely aggressive saw, a very long saw, and when it goes well, she puts up exceptional times. Somewhere towards the bottom quarter of this log, there's a shift in angle. She came down trying to pull off too much on that pull stroke, and the saw just jammed up. Couldn't read lips there, but I think she's saying that saw was too aggressive for her.
Take a look at those official times now, and there's Nancy Zaleski taking over the lead with a 16.66. Julie Miller in that heat as well, right behind with an 18.65. Here's our overall points updated. Of course, Nancy Zaleski on top, and of course, Erin Lavoie has yet to cut her single buck log, so keep that in mind. Same story for Martha King, who's coming up in this next heat here. On the left, that's Kate Wiskowski.
There's been a lot of emphasis placed, a lot of eyes on the time for Martha King, and she is sawing like a woman possessed. That nose of that saw disappearing back into the block, getting some encouragement from Lawrence O'Toole. She manages to best Kate Witkowski in that heat, but she's looking over to her unofficial time right there. The reason everybody's watching that is she is in a points tie with Erin Lavoie, who's up in the next heat.
Yeah, she's done her job, it would appear, Kevin. A lot of speed.
Yeah, I don't know if that could go a whole lot faster. There's maybe just a little bit of chatter at the top of this, but that saw is running all the way in, maybe just a touch more extension, getting the handle down to the block. One of the hardest things to do is to commit to that extension because you feel like you'll never get the saw back out.
You see the score now from Catherine Witkowski right behind him in 16.63, Zaleski 16.66, so Martha King 15.76 in the top spot in the single buck, our final discipline. So that means for one of the competitors in our final heat, that time to beat is what you have to do to take the victory. There they are. Martha King is going to wind up with 22 points. It'll go down to Erin Lavoie. She's 8 points behind right now, but she can pick up 8 points by besting that time of 15.76 for Martha King. Final heat, the single buck, and it's all on Erin Lavoie. She's got to beat 15.76. That's the time laid down by Martha King. Those two tied for points coming into this final discipline.
A bit of a rough day for Lindsay there on stand number 1. She is just an awesome, awesome person and an exceptional competitor. Unfortunately, out of it in terms of Harley points, and now the moment of truth for Erin Lavoie as she whips around and looks to that unofficial time.
She's got a clue as what might happen here. She's got an idea as to what may have happened. Yeah, 14.54. Erin Lavoie, your women's champion for 2018 on the STIHL TimberSports Series. That all-important single buck cut from Erin Lavoie is our John Deere nothing runs like a deer moment.
I love the little Erin Lavoie self-pep talks. It's time to go, buddy, she says to herself. And she went. What a great, clean, technical cut. Not a single hang-up, not a single flaw. Sure, there's probably more time to save somewhere in that cut, but I'm not going to be the person to point it out. Excellent, excellent run from Erin Lavoie.
And we have an interview with our winner, Erin Lavoie. Dave, take it away.
Yeah, this is a big, Erin is so serious all the time. This is a big smile. Erin, you are breathing rarefied air today. You've won on the big stage. You're taking home a Harley. You're taking home a Brute axe. You've got a great trophy. You train everything. That is the fastest single buck, though. The fastest single buck, and you waited for the right moment.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I did. I pulled it out. It's amazing what you do when you're challenged with a challenge and you step it up. And if there's no challenge, you won't step up to get it. And I'm just happy that I had that challenge by these ridiculous girls up here. They're strong and amazing and just amazing friends. But the challenge was there. I stepped up, and I'm happy. I'm real happy right now.
All three finalists today will receive a Brute Forge racing axe. Nancy Zaleski, she takes 3rd place in our women's championship. Martha King, 2nd place, and will take home a new John Deere Gator for her efforts. Taking home the Harley-Davidson, your new STIHL Timbersports U.S. Women's Champion, Erin Lavoie.
Let's hear it one more time for all 8 of our athletes.
Well, get ready. Coming up next, we switch it over to the men's side for an endurance race to test the best lumberjacks from the United States. 8 finalists will do battle for a chance to represent the U.S. and Europe, battle the best in the world. Stay tuned for Champions Trophy action when STIHL Timbersports continues. STIHL Timbersports on ABC, coming to you from Germanfest on the Summerfest grounds here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Germanfest has been around since 1981, and we are the largest 3-day German festival in the country, actually,
yes,
right?
It is.
And we have 5 stages of traditional German music, ranging from brass bands to rock bands like Alpine Rock, and everything in between. Our food is one of the things we're known for because it's made by our volunteers. So it's not that we do have restaurants that we hire, and they do a great job also, but we have Germanfest recipes that are protected under lock and key. And it's basically, because it's our volunteers making it, it's like your Oma's making it.
Hey, pros from Milwaukee! Woo!
One final championship to settle here before we leave Milwaukee, the STIHL Timbersports Series 2018. And this is the Champions Trophy competition. And Kevin Holtz, this is a grueling bracketed competition. Boy, this will wear a guy out. Among the 8 in the bracketed competition, Kevin, who are you looking at as the favorite?
Well, I've got a couple of ways of looking at this. You want to see the clean, efficient cutters. So I, of course, am leaning towards Matt Koger. He just takes these blocks apart, completes these events very efficiently. I'm also looking to guys like Cassidy Shear. Cassidy is an all-around exceptional athlete. He's in prime shape. So in an endurance type of event, I got to give a nod to Cassidy Shear as well.
All right, 4 disciplines for one guy. Not a relay, a one-man performance. Here's Dave Jewett to tell us more about this format.
This next event is exploding in the STIHL Timbersports world right now. It is an endurance event. It is called the Champions Trophy. We're taking 4 of the most exciting STIHL Timbersports events, making a competitor go back to back to back to back in a head-to-head individual relay, starting with the stock saw. One disc must be severed. Shut the saw off. Run, not walk, to the underhand chop. Pick up your racing axe, continuing that racing mode into the back of that log. Sever it. Now it's time for our second sawing event, the manual sawing event, the toughest event, the single buck. They will be picking up that 6 to 6.5 foot, $2,000 racing saw, severing the disc, laying the saw down, and here comes the standing block. And also here comes the lactic acid buildup. They must pick up their racing axe one more time, putting a huge front into that vertical log, getting around in 3 to 4 steps, not losing any time into the back side of that log, ignoring the competitor next to them, and driving that log off to be the champion of the Champions Trophy.
Let's start out round number 1 of our bracketed competition. This matchup between Cassidy Shear and Walt Page.
I think this will be an interesting one. Walt Page and Cassidy are both very cerebral individuals in their approach to the sport. So I think we've got a great race. They're both very efficient cutters. I got to give the nod to Cassidy Shear, though, just on the amount of time that he spends focusing on physical training and mental preparation. I feel like he's going to be able to get in a zone and just carry himself through these this one-man relay, if you will.
I know everyone's fitness level varies, Kevin, but at which point going through these 4 disciplines, are these guys really going to start gassing?
Well, I think it's going to be right here, the single buck. The stock saw is not very physically intensive. The underhand is moderately physically intensive. You cannot lie to your single buck, says my good friend Dave Jewett. It will call you out every time. Once you get past that single buck, your muscles go into just a whole new plane, a whole new transcendence, where the small muscles are shot and you're using your big muscles, your core. That can actually be when you do some of your better chopping, when you're just throwing your body into it. Cassidy well around into the back of this block, Walt on his heels, but Walt is not going to be able to reel in Cassidy Shear. Cassidy with an unofficial time of 105, but the important part is he will advance in our bracket.
Cassidy Shear will go on to the semi-final round. This next matchup pits the 6-time U.S. champion, now recently crowned last night, Matt Koger, going up against Adam Lefkoe.
What a great story Adam Lefkoe is. I mean, just showing up. Look at this. It just took down Matt Koger in the stock saw, but fumbles a bit in terms of getting the chain brake on and shutting the saw off. Matt is able to regroup and pull ahead, of Adam Lefkoe. But a great story from Adam Lefkoe. The success that he's shown in a relatively short amount of time has just been awesome. I said at the start of the show, obviously a lot of eyes, mine included, on Matt Koger. He does every single one of these disciplines as quickly and as efficiently as possible when they are standalone events, and that's going to pay out for him in terms of this one-man relay format in this Champions Trophy. You can see now, though, even Matt Koger, I think he's dialing it back a little bit. He knows he's got a sizable lead. Time does not matter at this point. He's just going to be looking to put in a clean, technical cut, pound the hits in, few swings as possible, and make sure that he wins this round over Adam Lefkoe.
The conservation of energy, as we watch how quickly this whole event unfolds, conservation of energy becomes more important with each round. Lefkoe finishes up, but an easy advancement for our U.S. champion, Matt Koger. Going to the other side of the brackets now. Here's the first matchup on the right side of the list, and it's going to be Jason Lentz versus Arden Koger Jr.
In trouble for Lentz as he goes down for that saw. Remember, these guys don't get to use those fancy holder boards in the stock saw portion that they would in the individual stock saw event. Saw moved around a little bit, and it cost Jason a little bit of time. We got to give a big nod, though, to Arden Koger Jr., our most veteran competitor in this Champions Trophy. As he often says, I'm not just putting these aren't words in his mouth, these are words out of his mouth. He says, I'm fat, but I'm fit, and that couldn't be more true. Arden Koger Jr. is a big man, but he is in exceptional shape, does a tremendous amount of conditioning training, and you're gonna see it pay out. If and when he wins and advances, he's gonna do this again, and then potentially again after that.
Absolutely, it could be a very trying day, but boy, he has got an advantage right now over Jason Lentz.
Yeah, sizable lead, but he cannot pull. Here we go. I was gonna say he cannot pull into cruise control just yet. Jason Lentz is starting to reel him in. There you see that 1 minute mark approaching. Arden Koger Jr. on par with the other, and there he goes! Arden Koger Jr., a 30-year veteran of the STIHL Timbersports Series.
He's not going to be here, like you said, he's not going to be here to be a placeholder. If he didn't think he could win, he would not be competing here today.
Oh, absolutely not. That is just not in Arden Koger Jr.'s nature.
And the bottom line, he's going to round number 2. Final matchup of round number 1, that's Matt Slingerland going up against David Green.
Slight advantage for Slingerland as he rolls over into this first event. Axe hangs a little bit. Oh, look at the slab of wood for Matt Slingerland. You see those nails and the holes they left behind. That will not be a disqualification. He did everything he could to try to prevent that slab. Then went and laid it to waste anyways. Should be about, well, I was going to say 1 or 2 more hits, and he is off. He's going to get this single buck sorted. Uh-oh, single buck's out of the cut.
That's not a good transition there.
No. Well, he's just going to restart it. Now, this could get ugly. Well, it's settling in. It settled back into the original cut. I was about to say this could get ugly because the saw could end up going off at a funny angle and cutting out of the block. David Green, it looks like his block is loose. These guys are glad to leave that single buck event in the taillights. See see the pace waning a bit for David Green. I think he may have bailed out of the front side of that log a little too soon. There's a lot of cuttable wood there. One more round would have done him a lot of good. Here goes Matt.
Matt Slingerland has earned the right to face up with Arden Koger Jr. in round number 2. We have our 4 semifinalists set. Shear, Matthew Koger, Arden Koger, and Matt Slingerland. We're going to take a break before we move on to round number 2. So we'll be back. Wonderful summer day here on the shores of Lake Michigan. We're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the STIHL Timbersport Series 2018 U.S. Championships. This unique sport requires all sorts of unique tools. Here's more about those in this Brute Forge Racing Axe Tools of the Trade.
I probably have $30,000 worth of equipment at my table out there. 3 hot saws, a dozen axes, 2 crosscut saws, and a whole variety of other Lumberjack sports accessories.
Our crosscut saws, they're somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000 each. Each axe is about $500.
Axes, like once you have one ground and with a handle in it, you're looking at almost $600, $650, something like that.
A guy might bring 2 or 3 crosscut saws and 10 or 12 axes to a show like this, just because you never really know what the wood's going to be like. You don't know what axe is really going to be cutting it on the day. So it's a pretty big investment in gear to get to this level.
It's expensive. It takes commitment. You know, it's an expense that is part of the family budget every year.
Here's the battle to see which one of these two gains the finals. Cassidy Shear in the foreground going up against Matt Koger.
And Tommy, at the start of the show, I mentioned both of these names as potential winners for this endurance event. Cassidy Shear has the advantage right now going into the underhand. A bit of a bobble from Matt Koger coming out of that stock saw. And a bit of a hung axe there for Matt Koger as well. Oh, and Matt Koger, though, reels him in the underhand. I was about to say I'd look for Matt Koger to take the advantage. I feel like Cassidy is coming in with a little too much urgency now. I think he felt like he had a lead in that underhand, and he ran over to that single buck saw. Something is jammed in there. There's a noodle, a chip, something down in the kerf of that saw that is not letting it go. There it goes. It finally clears itself. That is a tough break for Cassidy Shear.
No, you cannot spot Matt Koger that kind of time in a race like this. Remember, these guys just completed their last round about 10, 12 minutes ago, so they're still breathing hard, but Matt Koger can rest for a moment here. He's taken out Cassidy Shear to make it into the final.
Congratulations, Matt Koger. You've just completed that entire sequence twice. Your reward is you get to do it a 3rd time.
Yeah.
Here's the trouble for Cassidy Shear at the top of this cut. There has got to be something in there, some noodles, some debris, some chips that are sideways in the gullet and are jamming that saw up. All it takes is one of those noodles. There you see it discharge a few of them. Something's going on inside there.
You were looking good until the single buck.
Yeah, I think I just wasn't pulling it right. It was so stuck, I thought, did I bend a tooth when I threw it down last round or something? Then once I got it going, it was going. I think that really deep starter cut on a thick disc puts a bit more tension on the saw that I'm used to, so that's just an experience, but I'm still going for bronze. Yo-ho!
Absolutely. Give a big round of applause. Always keeping us entertained, Cassidy Shear.
Who will face Matt Koger in the final? Will it be Arden Koger Jr.? Will it be Matt Slingerland?
Arden Koger Jr. with a near devastating bobble. He came down and put his hand on the chain brake. Wow, I think Arden is really just putting the rush on. He ran past his axe, grabbed the chain brake in the stock saw, got to settle in and cut his race. He can do this. He can take down Matt Slingerland, but he can't make mistakes like that. Matt with about a 3-swing advantage, about a 3-second advantage. He steps over, gets that saw started, makes it past the bobbles he had in the first round, putting up a clean cut. Arden Coger Jr. is going to have to bring the pace here.
And he is. Look at that.
Into the standing block, it's now advantage Coger. He was about 3 swings behind after the underhand. He's about 2 swings ahead in the standing block. Things are getting a little sprayy though. The hits are starting to fly around for Arden Coger Jr.
Inevitable that fatigue's going to creep in at this part of the bracketed competition. Just got to hang in there.
Some missed hits for Matt as well. He does clean it up. There it is, Matt Slingerland. A little bit of tippiness there from Arden Coger Jr.
Matt Slingerland's going to face up Matt Coger in the championship.
This was the telltale point though. There again, I don't know what's going on with Matty Slingerland and setting the saw. He got it that time, got it cleanly into the log. Arden Coger Jr., as he sets the saw, he's letting it drop down into the cut and he's pulling it back at the same time.
Hard-fought win for Matt Slingerland to be sure.
Tell us about that race. Blew it, totally blew it. Missed the axe when I got on the underhand, and then put 2 extra up hits in the standing block I didn't need. My own darn fault. Just still not having confidence in my shoulder and getting used to being strong again.
Hey, you just told me you got to rest up. You do have to rest up. You got to go against Cassidy Shear. Big round of applause, Arden Coger Jr.
Well, there you go. We've got the final 2 heats set. Of course, the first one will be the 3rd place consolation bronze heat. It's going to be Arden Coger Jr. going up against Cassidy Shear. Then Matthew Coger, Matt Slingerland in the final. Don't go anywhere. We got 2 big races coming. Our head judge, Dr. Rich Hallett of the U.S. Forest Service, shared some insight about the Nature Conservancy's Healthy Trees, Healthy Cities initiative, which is taking place in cities across the country, including right here in Milwaukee.
The health of trees are really important to our cities. Cities don't have the resources to keep their eyes on all the trees in the city. So we've developed this app and this method that allows us to train other non-experts to use a critical eye in looking at the health of the trees, reporting it into a database that you can then log on to and see where the trees are, how healthy they are, and perhaps more importantly, begin to amass the data throughout the cities.
We truly believe that this work has to be done by everyone. Trees are everywhere, and we all have a vested interest in protecting the health of these trees.
Being able to kind of use our broadcast, use our presence here in Milwaukee, to share the story of what these amazing people are doing is really something that we feel privileged to do.
We just need more boots on the ground, more eyes on the trees, and our citizen scientists have some real value that they can add to this process. We really need to focus on educating our citizens about the value of the environment and keeping healthy trees in cities.
STIHL Timbersports on ABC is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, Duluth Trading, tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen, Brute Forge Racing Axes, and STIHL, maker of a full line of gas and battery-powered outdoor power equipment. Visit STIHLdealers.com to find your local STIHL dealer.
STIHL Timbersports 2018 from Milwaukee is coming to a close. We are nearing the end of our Champions Trophy competition. We started with 8 competitors. We're down to our finals match. But before that, let's take a look at the results from our 3rd place match between Cassidy Shear and Arden Coger Jr. Coger Jr. was just coming off a semifinal run and had run back-to-back matches, and when he reached the single buck, exhaustion set in and he would concede. What an effort by this incredible athlete. He left it all on the stage today. Cassidy Shear would finish the round and take 3rd in the Champions Trophy. Now it's time for our finals. Matt Coger facing off against Matt Slingerland. The winner goes on to represent the United States and Europe in 2019.
if for some crazy reason you just turned on the TV and you're thinking, wow, these guys are gonna do 4 events in a row, yeah, I got a newsflash for you. This is the 3rd time they've done 4 disciplines in a row, and they're gonna make it look easy. Matt Coger already around to the second side of his underhand block with Matt Slingerland right on his heels.
Matt Slingerland losing out in the U.S. Championships to Matt Coger this year and last year, consecutive years. He would love to get a measure of revenge right here.
See Matt Coger as he approaches that single buck saw shake his hands out. No doubt some cramping coming off that underhand chop. There's times you get into a long chop like that, you feel like you have to physically uncurl your fingers off the axe handle.
Matt Coger with a big lead right now. He's going to be hard to catch.
Now to the second side of the block for Matt Coger. Again, this is where he's in that total body chopping. Matt Bush always used to say, wow, look at that finish
goodness.
from Matt Coger. Well, Tommy, this is certainly the cherry on top of the ice cream for Matt Coger, our 6-time U.S. champion, demonstrated his strength in 6 different disciplines as standalone events, and then to come in here and show what an endurance athlete he can be and participate in 4 different disciplines 3 times in a row is just absolutely mind-blowing.
You are looking at the dynasty in lumberjack sports in these United States in the person of one man, Matt Coger of West Virginia. And Matt Coger will go on to represent the United States in Champions Trophy competition in Europe in 2019.
In 3rd place, the Champions Trophy 2018, Cassidy Shear. In 2nd place, fighting back, is Matt Slingerland. Our U.S. Champions Trophy winner, Matthew Coger.
Well, there he is, our U.S. champion for 2018, the 6th consecutive year. Matt Coger collecting some more hardware here. All we can say now is hats off to the man. He is the man yet again in 2018, Matt Coger. I'm Tommy Sanders for Kevin Holtz and Dave Jewett. See you next time.